Show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that this notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551. Just a reminder, we are here for what is best to promote and encourage achievement for every student in our district. At this time, we will have an invocation. You'll please rise. We'll move on to item number 3, communication from citizens. We appreciate you being here this evening, and we always welcome communication from citizens of our district. Individuals who wish to participate during the portion of the meeting designated for public comment shall sign up with the presiding officer or designee no later than 1 p.m. the day of the board meeting, and shall indicate the agenda item or topic on which they wish to address the board. Mrs. Branch, do we have anyone who wishes to speak to the board?
No, we do not.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 4, Ms. McFaulkner, were there any questions called in regarding the consent agenda?
Yes, Mr. Board President, there were a couple. One was in regards to the quote for train equipment, and did we receive bids? And we actually are buying it straight from the manufacturer, and so we will be saving money by direct buying. The next one was, are we approving anything that needs to be purchased with the Centrix quote or action item? And the answer is no, nothing is being approved for Centrix prior to approving Centrix. Also, within that, there was a roofing item, and so that item had an inaccurate amount. It said 1,500, and it was actually 1.5 million. So I will be talking to the board president about pulling that item.
It's 10.
It's part of the consent agenda. We'll
Yeah.
pull that.
Yeah, 9H, yeah. We'll pull that out and get that corrected.
So, just a clarifying question. I'm having computer issues today, so I couldn't really read all the consent agenda. And so my question was about Centrix. Did they have any input, is the way I should have worded that question, about the consent agenda items? It's separate because it's part of the bond.
Nothing is related in the consent agenda to Centrix.
Okay, great. All right, thanks.
Now we'll move on to presentation items. Item 5A, District Improvement Plan Update, 3rd grade reading and math.
Yes, at this time, Mr. Board President, Kristen Smith, 3rd through 5th grade ELA coordinator, and Whitney Harper, our lead elementary coordinator, will present an update on the 25-26 District Improvement Plan Priority 8, which is our 3rd grade reading and math scores, as we've just completed our 3rd benchmark.
Sorry. Good evening, President Tolliver, members of the board, Superintendent Smith-Faulkner. Thank you for having us here tonight. It is a pleasure to share this update on 3rd grade reading and math. Tonight, I will be covering the reading portion of our district improvement plan update, and Mrs. Harper will do the math. We will begin with 3rd grade reading. Our district improvement plan goal is Goal 2, Performance Objective 1, which aims to increase the percentage of students meeting expectations on STAR reading from 36% measured in June of 2025 to 40% by June 2026, combining both Spanish and English scores together. This goal is created from our final district and campus accountability data The final accountability includes only students enrolled on Snapshot Day, which is the last Friday in October and is reported in the fall PEIMS. And it also includes students who take the STAR Alt, which is an alternative assessment designed for students with significant cognitive abilities. So as you look at the data on the following slides, please keep in mind that this data includes all the students who are currently enrolled in Castleberry, which is a broader population than what's used in the final accountability and does not include STAR Alt scores. Okay, so here we're gonna look at our STAR performance from benchmark 3 compared to STAR 2025. With those context points in mind, let's look at our data broken down out by English and Spanish separately first. The dark blue bars represent the 2025 STAR test, and the light blue bars represent our most recent benchmark. It is important to note that benchmark 3 is the exact same assessment as the 2025 STAR, which makes our comparisons apples to apples, and it makes it a firm progress marker for our goal. Below each assessment, you will see the number of students that's included in that data. The first pair of bars shows the English set, and you can see we have already surpassed the goal of the 40%. The second pair represents the Spanish data, where you can see we have grown from last year's STAR, and we're now sitting at 33%, meeting expectations. We are continuing to work towards reaching that 40% mark before the upcoming STAR test. Here's where we combine them. So this shows English and Spanish scores, which is as it's done for accountability. We see that our goal for third grade performance is surpassing the 40% here. This is an encouraging sign, and as long as the test is similarly presented and there's no major curveballs thrown, we are currently on track to meet our goal. That said, it's important to remember that the final accountability number does take into consideration that snapshot day and the STAR Alt scores, okay? That our trajectory, as you can see here, is a strong indicator that our work is currently moving in the right direction. Here you can see the changes happening at the district level for third grade. These strategies were addressed in much greater detail in the November board meeting in those slides. This year, we restructured our literacy blocks to intentionally address both sides of the reading rope, strengthening both the word recognition strand through structured literacy, but we're also deepening the language comprehension through focused comprehension instruction, and we have intentional fluency practice, so the reading becomes increasingly more automatic for students. One additional note there is at the bottom, it's the red line. It represents a STAR prep countdown that was added to strategically review high priority and frequently assessed TEKS in the weeks that are leading up to the assessment. I will now turn this over to Mrs. Harper so she can dive into the math data with you.
Good evening, everyone. If you'll go to the next slide, please. So our district improvement plan is that same performance objective 2, and the percentage of third grade students that score meets on STAR will increase from 27% to 34% by June of 2026. On this slide, this shows the highlights that I presented back in December. I do want to draw, I'm not going to read through them, but I do want to draw your attention to the red sections. In January, we added, a daily practice countdown to STAR, which focuses on all of the TEKS that the students will be tested on in 3rd through 5th. And we just took our benchmark last Wednesday. And we've been looking at data since Thursday, and now we have our board meeting here tonight. So I wanted to let you know that we do have plans in place. Our math instructional coach has been working with our students all year long, but I will be starting to work with students in small groups. So our CALs, our campus academic leaders, and our innovation coordinator is also going to be pulling some groups as well to really help us out to get those numbers up where we need them to be. So on the next slide, this is the same slide that we looked at previously, but now it has the benchmark 3 data on it. So we previously talked about the navy blue arrow was our fall benchmark 1, and it related back to our fall benchmark 1 last year. The red data is what we talked about in in January, and it shows that we were about the same from this December to the past spring benchmark. But what we looked at for benchmark 3, just like Ms. Schmidt talked about, it was an apples to apples test. So our benchmark 3 was exactly the same as our STAR 2025. So on that, our STAR 2025 showed the district at 27%, and our goal this year is to increase to 34%. So right now, we have data that shows our district, which is shown in red, the red bar. We are sitting right at 33%, 1 percentage point below our goal. The light blue is AV Cato. It shows the same as the district at 33%. Castleberry Elementary is exceeding the goal at 42%. And Joy James at 19%. We have a little bit of an outlier, but we do have a plan in place. I was over in PLCs today. I was talking with the teacher as well as the campus academic leader, the principal, and the assistant principal was in there, as well as the special education teacher that services those students. And I think moving forward, we do have a great plan in place. Our instructional coach we'll be working with them 1 day a week, 5 days a week, every day, as well as the campus academic leader, Ms. Greer. She is going to be pulling a group every single day. And then there will be times where additional people will be helping with that as well. So I wanted to make sure that you knew we did have a plan moving forward for that particular school. So I just wanted to kind of go over these immediate actions. Just like I said, last Wednesday, April the 1st, we took our benchmark 3. On Thursday, we started turning the data. We did have a few students that had makeup tests Thursday, and then we did have a few today that took it. Very few, so it didn't really change the percentages. We have our school board presentation right now as we speak, and those small group interventions will begin tomorrow. This Wednesday, we will be meeting with Superintendent Smith-Faulkner, as well as all of the campus leaders from 3rd grade through 12th grade to talk about our progress monitoring for math and science moving forward, as well as social studies. And during those progress monitorings, I just wanted to remind you that we really hit and talk about those low performing but highly tested TEKs. We determine and we talk about those student groups that we're actually going to be starting tomorrow, and then planning that target and instruction. And that's done through small groups during the day, during their RTI time, as well as ACE after school, that high impact tutoring, as well as Saturday school. We do have 2 Saturday schools left, one coming this Saturday, and then the 11th, and then the 18th. And so we will be able to work with those kids at a really intensive level for that time. So. And then next steps, this actually includes both reading and math. We wanted to reiterate the fact that the school board did approve our adoption for next year. In reading, we're moving to Bluebonnet for 3 through 5 only, but we will be moving math K-5. And the district and campus leaders have been going to trainings at Region 11 this year, starting back in the fall. We will be doing teacher introductions to the curriculum this spring. And the students will actually be experiencing this new curriculum, kind of getting their feet wet after STAR. So they will actually be able to do some practices and kind of get familiar with a few things before we even start next year. This summer, we will have our professional learning for both reading and math. And with that full implementation next year, we will have coaching and classroom implementation visits throughout the year, as well as a lot of support from Region 11 next year. So they will be coming in and helping us do walks and making sure that everything is going smoothly, that the implementation is done with fidelity, and so that we can really get a robust program going and make sure that everyone is on the same page. So that's all I have for you tonight. Does anyone have any questions for myself or Ms. Schmidt?
I do. Thank you so much.
Yes.
How much longer before you have to take the STAR test?
So STAR for math. So actually, next Tuesday is the reading STAR. For 3 through 5. The next Tuesday is the science STAR for 5th grade only, and I'm just speaking elementary right now. And then math will be taken on April 28th. So we've got 3 weeks. So thank you.
On to item 5B, the Budget Workshop 3. Mr. Wooten.
All right, good evening, Mr. President, Board of Education, and Superintendent. Tonight, I'll walk you through our current year financial position and how we are building next year's budget. Let me begin with the key discussion points for tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about the current year in budget estimates. Remember, that's a point in time. Those are not final numbers. Next, we're going to talk about the next year budget assumptions. Those assumptions include enrollment, ADA, property values. And then next, we're going to talk about next year's budget estimates and obviously next steps. So this is important. Based on current year collections and current year spending, the key question becomes, where do we expect the district to end the year financially? To answer this question, I'll walk you through our current year end estimate based on the information we have today, the very best information. So as of the end of March, we are anticipating collecting 99% of our adopted budget, which is $48.6 million. And then we're going to spend almost 100% of our expenses. So it's a very tight budget. Our net change is going to be about $399,000. Remember last month, it was almost $500,000. So the numbers are breathing, the numbers are getting stronger. As we get closer to May, June, we're going to really have a good set of numbers to work from. All right, next slide. So this is a very good slide. We have not had the chance to talk about the INS bucket. We've always talked about the M&O bucket, and so the INS bucket behaves a little bit differently. As you see, this slide shows our interest in sinking, which is the INS budget. This is our voter-approved debt service fund. Just to level set the conversation here, the INS fund is used only to pay principal and interest on voter-approved debt. For example, the $98 million, and it's funded by the INS tax rate. Currently, our tax rate is set at 50 cents. It is separate from the general fund, and it does not impact operations. So you can't mix funds. We don't commingle the INS funds with the M&O funds. So as this chart says, we expect to collect 95% of our budget collections. That'd be approximately $7.4 million. And expenses, expenses are at 100% of planned debt payments, and that's about $8.2 million. So we know exactly what our debt obligation looks like. These are fixed obligations. We pay these in full. The negative net change is about $755,000, which reflects a planned use of fund balance. So last June, when we adopted the budget, we had planned on using the fund balance because we have an accumulation of fund balance. We have built, as we said before, we have built an accumulation of funds. We are now using a portion of those funds to support the debt payments. And so this is good news. This is a positive, and we expected this outcome. So we're using the excess INS fund balance as debt obligations are managed. So we're not commingling funds. We have a INS fund balance of about $6.5 million, and so we're eating down on that fund balance. Next slide. These are some next year's budget assumptions. We plan for TRS Active Care to increase about 10%, and we'll find out more at the end of this month, no later than May 1st. And so that looks like it could increase anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000 on our budget. And so we're having to manage that as well. These are the projected state funding drivers. The budget is built upon student count. Right now, we anticipate having 3,658 students show up to Castleberry next year. Our property value growth, we don't anticipate the property value growth exceeding more than 2.5%. Because if it exceeds 2.5% or more, we're going to experience what's called compression. And so that's going to impact our M&O side. Our district attendance rate is 92%, and so we're going to make an assumption to say that our tax rate is going to be flat. So this is the good news here, the new electricity agreement rate, effective June 2026. We anticipate we know that based on contractual agreement that our rate would drop from 3.99 to 3.40 kilowatts per hour. As of now, it's an estimate savings of about $40,000 annually. So these are some of the drivers that we're constantly retooling this budget with. Student counts, as we said before, we intend to lose about 100 students. Local property values, we don't anticipate local property values increasing more than 2.5%. And then for now, we're going to leave a tax rate flat. At the end of this month, April 30th, by law, we're going to receive what's called a preliminary certified tax roll. So we're going to use those numbers to true up the local property values. And because of the property values go up, it doesn't necessarily mean we get more money. In fact, it's that compression that I talked about. Next slide, please. So this slide is a very good slide. This tells you exactly how much money we anticipate collecting and from what source. So as we look at property taxes collections, that's 24% of our budget, which is $10.7 million. State aid is a large percentage of what we collect, and that's driven by students. And so we collect about 75% from the state. And then federal aid collections, we're not getting very much federal aid from our SHARS program. And so the total anticipated funds we anticipate collecting is about $47.2 million, which is about $1 million less than what we collected last year. Next slide. So this slide is our non-payroll budget. Right now, we anticipate, last year we adopted a $7 million budget. This year, we anticipate that the 26-27 estimate is about $7.2 million. And so that variance is between the campuses and departments, the budget went up $224,000. And so as we go through this month, this month is a very critical month for us because we're going to be adjusting this budget, and you'll see more later. Next slide. So this is a May 4th. These are things that we have to get done before we get to the board. We need to shore up our operating budget. We need to adjust our non-payroll numbers and salary and benefit numbers because compensation is going to be tough. In a budget that's already not as flexible, we don't even, at this point, haven't even had the discussion about giving raises because we don't know exactly where we're going to land in the grand scheme of things. There's a lot can happen this month with state reporting and things such as that. The next thing that we're going to show up is proposed infrastructure investment. I believe you guys are already talking about that. We're estimating an annual payment of $533,000 over 15 years at 5.25. And the financial advisor is going to talk more about that conversation. Next slide, please. So this is what we plan on doing up until June 30th right now. I'm sorry, August 17th. Next big ticket items, we're going to receive our preliminary taxable values April 30th by law. We need to get those because that's going to help me project my taxable assessed values. And then the preliminary budget is going to be May 4th. In that budget, I anticipate having a draft budget for the board to look at. And so board pending any questions from this work session, Mr. President, that's all I have. Yes, ma'am.
And thank you again for such a clear report. You talked about SHARS being our federal aid money. Do we get any money from the federal aid government for our child nutrition?
We do, absolutely.
Okay.
We do. We're part of the CEP program. We do get funding for child nutrition, and I will present that budget next on May 4th as well.
Okay. Just because $300,000 seems such like a small amount, I thought, well, surely we get more money from the federal government than just.
And that's a good point. So that's, so let me just, so there's 3 legal budgets that the board approves. General fund, I know you know it, general fund, debt service, which we just talked about, and then the child nutrition. I haven't shown you child nutrition. Typically, we kind of show at the end, but May 4th, I will show that as a draft budget as well.
That's right, sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot that was separate.
No, that's right, because you hadn't seen it, so it's a good question.
But I do want to clarify, that it would not be part of this overall budget to spend back on what
Absolutely.
Mr. Wooten is talking about. It would be, it has separate guidelines.
Okay. And then you answered my question about the raises conversation, if we're having that yet, so we'll have that soon.
It's gonna be a tough one, yes, ma'am. We don't know if we can give raises at this point. So,
We need to refer a friend with electricity rate.
I like that one.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Board, thank you.
Item 5C, 2024 Castleberry High School Bond Program Construction Update. Mr. Holloman.
Okay, good evening, Board President, Superintendent Smith-Faulkner. Dive right into it, Angela, please. Again, 3.22, we want to do 3 things. We want to stay on schedule, we want to stay in budget, and we want to meet all our safety guidelines in order to build a modern-day learning environment for our students. A little bit of the overall big picture project. As far as infrastructure, we're moving right along. We were able to get the transformer 2 months ago, and then the power lines moved. In the renovation, we're continuing with Media Center, and we'll have that opened up. All of those renovation areas, the drama coming this next school year, and new construction, area B and C moving right along. We were able to complete the parking lot and the fire lane areas, and we are in the process of having furniture delivered June, July, and installed, ready for school to start. Okay, now the specifics on the project, moving down to kind of end of March, April, our ceiling grids, above ceiling inspections done, ceiling grids put in. So I've got a photo or 2 in there. It'll be the last time in area B and C that you see above ceiling, so that'll be pretty cool. A, B, and C exterior brick. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this driving by the site, but a lot of our brick veneer is done. I think it looks awesome. We also have a lot of our metal panels going in on area C, and the 3 things combined look amazing. It looks modern, it looks clean. It's a beautiful combination of colors. Guard shack, front drive, all of those areas are continuing around the edges of the building, and our FF&E will be delivered this summer. Okay. Financial report, moving right along. I expect we're about 65% complete with construction overall. Some of that will slow down after we open up school because we'll be focused just on area A, but we still have about 41% of our finances remaining, and that's including a big payment we made this last week. And then we have about 62%, Linda and I work daily on, and Ms. Smith-Faulkner, of course, on all of those soft cost items. So really healthy budget. Again, a lot of those expenditures will come through this summer when we're opening up the building and putting the FF&E into the building. Yep. And a few glamour shots. We do have our emblem up. Sorry for the bridge in the front, but that will go away this summer, look a lot cleaner. And if you can see right underneath there are the metal panels and the soffit. It is pretty. It has a wood grain look to it, so when that's complete, it's really going to look nice and pop. Classroom area, so you can see some of the classrooms already have ceiling tiles in. We've got our accent walls in. It's kind of hard to see, but this is actually a cloud ceiling, so right on the edges where the exterior wall is, there's a little bit of an alcove, so it has a cloud appearance for that ceiling. that drop ceiling, and last will be floors, and that will probably start next month. Yes, ma'am. Here's a hallway, so about 90% of our wall tile and wainscot is in. Very clean. I think these are actually full 12-foot hallways, so that's a little bit wider than what they're used to walking in the current high school building. So looks clean there, and those ceilings will be going in this month. Here's our learning stairs. I think we're just about halfway complete. It's hard to get a good picture with the elevations here without a drone photo. So I'll have a current one of that next month, but it's coming along really fast. And then looking ahead, continuing to stay diligent with our funding. There are small opportunities within the GMP to make adjustments. BTC and WRA have done a great job of coming to us in a timely fashion so that we can make good decisions for the district. I think they've paid off to this point. And our idea is not only with the advanced technologies that we're putting into the current building, but throughout that high school building, so it is contingent or continuous throughout the building. We're going to spend less on utilities and repair in those areas and create the most optimum classroom environment possible for our students. At this time, I will entertain any questions that you may have. It's not me, I promise. This might be the hardest part for me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. On to item 5D, and I think that is Ms. Faulkner.
We do have a couple of presentations in this area. There were several questions that are received by our school board, so I just wanted to start it off and clarify a few of the questions to everyone. Of course, we're looking at the implementing of the Texas Education Code 44.901 to update district infrastructure for the purpose of decreasing long-term operational costs, as we're looking at how can we pass on some savings to the district, especially on the M&O side. In addition, in this code, you will see that it says the Board of Trustees of a school district shall establish a program to reduce energy consumption by the district. So why consider implementing Texas Education Code 44.901 now? Well, we certainly need to look at ways that we can decrease long-term operational cost on our M&O side. And we know that our biggest part of our budget, like 85% of the $48 million, is in payroll cost. And so after we look at our payroll cost, we know that the second largest operational expense after our payroll is basically energy consumption. And so we've already taken one step by securing a new contract that is lower, that's going to be saving the district some money. So now what we need to do is establish a plan or a program to reduce the energy consumption for some overall costs to the district. Because we know most likely we're all competing for the same students, so we've created a budget, some budget assumptions, and we'll be building the budget next year knowing that we'll have approximately maybe 100 less students as an estimate for now. We could be shoring that up a little bit. We have no new money coming in the district. There's not a legislative session right now. We know that we're operating off of the same budget, and we're also looking at inflation. And in the last legislative session, the money was earmarked for our teacher raises, in which they are well-deserved, but there was not any money that was put in to really adjust much for inflation and operational costs. So we're trying to squeeze as much money out of everything that we have so we can continue to ensure that our teachers and our staff are paid well. So why are we implementing it now, and what are we looking at? So over the last several months, we had Centrix conduct an energy audit, and they kind of looked at, where are all of the campuses What type of energy are we using? Where maybe could we improve some of these things? And so here's some of the items that in a minute, Zach Christensen from Centrix will go into more detail about the inventory of what they found when they did the audit. So right now we know that although to me, when I think of Castleberry Elementary and A.V. Cato and our new schools, I think of them as new, but I'm old, so time does go by quickly, and they're really beginning to age. And one thing that we found is when we built our schools, the standard was not really the LED lighting. And so we do not have those fixtures, and we know that it would be in our best interest to replace that with LED lighting so that we could, again, save money. HVAC controls, we need to standardize our equipment. I know right now we're operating with 3 different HVAC controls, and that impacts personnel cost, and also if we can get around to some of the facilities, you know, some of them we have to hand code to change the temperatures in the room. There is a reliable controls. There's Honeywell, in which I even have a logon that I can come in and change in this facility some of the time, the temperature, if we have a holiday, when do we schedule it so that our air is not on when we're not here, thus saving money. But right now, when we have standalone equipment where it takes a physical person going in and making some of these changes and programming, we know that there are times when we are probably using our HVAC equipment or heating equipment when we're not occupied in the building, thus wasting electricity. And so by standardizing the equipment, we could save money. For example, at the high school, in the new bond program, we are placing these controls. We already have researched a standard. We've selected through bid process a company, and the district gave input with BTC and selected a brand that we are using that will help at the high school. And this plan would help take that same standardized equipment and place it throughout the district so that all rooms and spaces could be controlled. In addition to that, Angela. In addition to that, during the end of ESSER funds, when we finished up our ESSER funds, the HVAC equipment replacement plan, money was cut from our replacement plan, and some of the HVAC equipment was not replaced. And so we looked at the usage of HVAC equipment, the age of some of it, and looked at the energy audit on what equipment is maybe not efficient, not utilizing up to standard Freon, and what do we need to do to get that back in compliance and ensure that our HVAC equipment is working for our students. We know that when we replace HVAC, sometimes we have to replace the roofing before we can put the HVAC in place. So all of these items were considered in the energy audit of where do we need to upgrade, what do we need to do so that we can ensure we're energy efficient. Why? Because we need to lower our utility bills. As I said, number 2, what is the most expensive other thing that we can control besides personnel costs? Our electricity, gas, and water. We want to redirect savings back into our classrooms, keep our teachers paid. If you look at that UEA, we're doing really well now in the top 5 of the districts. We want to be sure that we can pay everyone at that rate and redirect savings back to classroom staff and our student programs in which they're being very successful in this year. So much, we're looking for money for all of this postseason that they're going to, which is exciting, but we're like, this is more than what we planned, and we want to be sure we have the money for that. We want to stabilize our budgets against rising energy costs, and we also want to minimize those unexpected costly repairs. And you can go forward, Angela. So we don't have to dip into fund balance in the middle of the year and make a costly knee-jerk reaction on some unexpected repairs. And many districts save hundreds of thousands of dollars over time through energy efficiency upgrades. And we haven't looked at this in quite some time. The law takes into energy savings performance contracts. They look at upgrade, usually this looks at upgrading our HVAC, our lighting, even insulation sometimes, so that we can use that savings to pay for improvements using the guaranteed energy savings. And I think this is really confusing, and Zach can address this a little further, and that's by engaging an energy management company to take the risk of ensuring that we're going to get the savings back. That is, their job is to create a formula in which they can show that there's going to be savings back to the district, and then we hired another third party who verifies if what the formulas they're using is actually valid. And Cameron will follow up, because we did receive that today, to show the validity of the numbers that have been shared with us. And we want to avoid large upfront capital costs or bond elections in some cases. So we're putting this in M&O, general operating, so that we are planning for long-term savings for the district. This is how districts modernize their older facilities so that they can be more efficient. So when we look at facility efficiency and the longevity and the life of all of our facilities, we have some really beautiful buildings that it's time that we start to look at how do we become more efficient. Because energy conservation measures that we put in place, we need to extend the life of HVAC. If they're running less, it's going to extend the life. But if they're running nonstop all the time and we're not really programming them, then they're not going to last for their full lifetime. We want to reduce the maintenance costs. Instead of having 3 HVAC employees, why not have one that can use programming to control our system and make those adjustments for our classrooms? We want to improve reliability. I don't want the call at the first of school, what's wrong with the air conditioning system? It's hot in this room. We want fewer breakdowns, and I want to be sure there's unexpected expenses do not happen due to planning and not looking at our equipment. We want to also ensure we have a great learning environment. It's not the paint on the building and the roof necessarily that we always look at and how it looks, but we want to be sure the air quality is good for our students for health reasons. We want the temperature to be consistent for our classrooms, and we want to be sure that there is good lighting quality for our students so that when they are studying and they're working in the classroom, that they have that good quality light. So districts implement, I hope this explains a little more about districts implement our Texas Education Code 44.901 because it saves money over time. It improves our buildings, and it supports better learning environments by operating smarter and stretching those limited resources that we're seeing in our operating budget. And we have utilized prior E3 and Ideal Impact. We've had experiences with them, but we've engaged a new company to see if maybe our experiences can be a little improved. And so we've looked at 2 other vendors. We're going to check back with the qualifications of other vendors. We've been very happy with the assessment that we've received from Centrix. And today, we received the third-party independent engineering review that confirms some of the numbers that they have provided for us. So that is a big, broad overview that I think, based on the questions I received, I said, let me go back and kind of put it all together. And so I hope that helped. So at this time, I know Zach is in the audience. And I'm going to have him come up. He can give you a few more details about the equipment, and then Cameron will follow up with the third-party review. Okay, Zach?
Thank you, Ms. Superintendent Smith-Faulkner, for that wonderful intro. Couldn't have said it better myself. Board President and board members, good to see you again. Thank you again for having us. I'm joined by our President, Adam Corbin, in the audience. And as the superintendent said, I get to kind of do the fun part of this now, which is to hone in on what the final project is rounding into form to look like, and then talk about the benefits therein, and then answer any questions that you might have. So we'll go ahead and jump into that. We'll flip over to mine. There were a couple specific questions too about the lighting scope that I wanted to address while I'm up here that I believe came from some of the board members as well. If that's okay, I'll do that at the end. All right, perfect. Okay, so in the 4 scopes of work that we just talked about here, what I wanted to show tonight was a reminder of kind of where we were before, okay? And so as we did this assessment, really the goal was to look at everything possible that we could with the main focus on, okay, what are the things that are about to cost the district a lot of money, okay? These things are coming, they're coming soon. So let's identify those things first. What do they look like? How can we remedy them? And then on the other side of that coin, this is really the thread that goes through the whole thing. How do we find savings from those and leverage those savings to pay for it, okay? We're not here to come and say, hey, you just need to do all these things and you need to find the money for it. We're here to find that money as well. So in terms of lighting, really it was kind of a mixed bag across many of the schools that we, all of your buildings. And so that was a real, easy choice there. We want to go LEDs. Saying it out loud kind of helps put it in context, but you won't have to mess with your lighting until the late 2030s after this, okay? There's a 10-year warranty. The average useful life of this asset is 17 years, so that kind of bleeds into the 2040s. And how nice is it that you won't have to worry about one of the aspects of your buildings until then? So that's really the lighting. I wanted also to just, double click on some of the benefits. Those are the buildings up top where we're going to be implementing all the lighting retrofits. The numbers that Superintendent Smith-Faulkner talked about, the guarantees are there, okay? You can see those broken out. You'll save that much in utility savings every year, that much in avoided M&O costs, maintenance and operational cost, and capital cost avoidance, projecting out into the future. So that's what those look like. I'll do that for every one of these scopes of work. And then on the bottom, you can kind of see some of the, they're not ancillary benefits, but they're other benefits that come along with that, okay? We also looked at your building automation system, your controls. And as Ms. Smith-Faulkner did mention, a mixed bag there as well. By replacing these and standardizing them with the ones that you chose already at the high school in the bond project, you'll not only save electricity, go ahead and go to the next one, that much electricity, utility savings every year, avoided M&O costs, and that's just that you don't have to walk around programming the temperature into each one, turning them off when the space is unoccupied. You have one person who could theoretically, realistically, do that from a single point of control. And so that's also one of the no-brainers, okay? Roofing, okay? This does go hand in hand with HVAC replacement since much of your HVAC inventory are rooftop units. We took, on this one, we cheated a little bit. You guys had done a roofing assessment. You guys have a great roofing company here, by the way. On the next slide, you'll see in the corner there, I just pulled a screenshot. Don't worry about seeing it, the details. But I pulled a literal screenshot from that roofing assessment that you did. And I think, see, now I'm gonna wish I could see it, but I think that's at Joy James. And the red sections are the worst sections, the ones that are failing now or imminently failing. And then we have some yellow sections, which could be, patched up and I guess kind of, waited till later to address. And instead of a full-blown replacement roof, we're going to remedy those sections of the roof there. And so we're going to do that at Joy James and Castleberry Elementary. There are savings associated with that as well, and you can see those there. Okay, last one. And I know I made this joke before, but it's good, so I'll do it again. Pictorial evidence of Cameron actually working right there in the top left. He was showing us around, and while we were looking at the HVAC inventory that you have, in some places you have temporary cooling, which obviously is an M&O expense that we want to eliminate and leverage back into getting actual equipment. The one on the right I included, that's one of your chillers, and so we actually don't recommend that you replace that now, which you may question why. It just doesn't need to be done quite yet. Okay, those are still going, and with a little bit of good maintenance there, they should continue to go. And so we don't think you need to do that yet. We've honed in on, go ahead, Angela, 8 units at Joy James and 1 at Irma Marsh. Okay, so not a ton. And I think I said this in months past. You know, we expected to see a lot worse situation there. And what we actually found was it's not as bad as we feared. And again, with a little remediation, the balance of your HVAC portfolio, I think, is going to be just fine for a while. So that's what we landed on there. I wanted to break out the relative costs of each one of these scopes of work to the whole of the project and what it looks like. And so you can just kind of see that at a glance, okay? And then the project benefits. We've talked a little bit about these before, but having consistent controls across all campuses saves you money and makes a lot of sense. The operational and financial guarantees for this project are guaranteed for the whole term. And so this bears saying many times, I think, because if I was sitting in your seat, I'd want to hear this. The numbers that you saw associated with each one of those scopes of work, the savings numbers, are contractually backed by us. Okay, and so if you save even $1 less per year on any of those, well, take them as a whole, then we have to write you a check for $1. If it's $1, if it's $100,000, whatever that is, we are contractually bound to make sure that you are whole, because those savings numbers are paying for the project. Okay, that's super important. That's the whole reason we do projects like this. Phasing out the obsolete refrigerants, as you said, Superintendent. These scopes of work, and you'll hear this from your financial advisor, I think, next. These scopes of work do line up really well in terms of life cycle and duration of the assets to the financing mechanisms, the funding mechanisms. And we're still looking at that project timeline to coincide with your ribbon cutting, because we all love a good ribbon cutting, in January with the high school. Okay, I think I have perhaps a final slide there. I did want to address some of the specific lighting questions, and these are great questions. So these came to us recently. When will we start seeing savings in this project? Okay, so the guaranteed period starts when we cut the ribbon, essentially. So when all the scopes of work are installed. But you might be wondering, okay, what if you start putting in new lights, next month? When do we see those? So those are icing on the cake savings, I would say. They're not included in the whole year of performance guaranteed savings, but you do get those, and we choose to quantify those for you guys. A lot of vendors don't bother with that, but we want you to know what those look like. I can't imagine not having good news and wanting to share it. So we do quantify those savings. We call them pre-construction period savings. Okay, so those are reported to you. Number 2 is the lighting proposal for retrofitting or replacing fixtures. This is another great question. In 95% of the square footage, we're talking about retrofitting instead of ripping out the whole fixture. And that's okay, because with the regular 4-foot lamps that you have across most of your district, we do rip out the ballast. We rip out the wiring stays, but we reconnect it. We put in a driver, an LED driver, and those tubes go into the fixture. When we say a retrofit, all we're really leaving is like the hole there, right? With the frame that we put the tubes into. But all the technology is our new LEDs, and that represents about a 30% savings to do that rather than rip the whole thing out. And so, again, the whole point of this is to find as much savings as possible. We just don't think it's a good idea to use that savings in ripping the whole thing out when you get the same lighting output by doing a retrofit. And so the standard, this is too much, I know, but the standard, industry standard is between 30 and 50-foot candles for classrooms, okay? We're limiting that to 40 to 50, and that's exactly what you get in a retrofit, okay? It's the appropriate lighting for that space. So another great question there. What is the comparative pricing for replacement versus retrofitting, I kind of addressed this before, it's about a 30% difference, 30% savings in retrofitting. Next to last, retrofitting gives you an old fixture designed for fluorescence. Sticking a retrofit unit in an old light fixture doesn't give you the light output from the old fixture, and is still the old fixtures. Replacement gives a new fixture designed for LED and its light output. And so in the 5% of lights that we are ripping out, that is true. But in the retrofits, again, it is the same appropriate lighting output. You don't lose any at all, okay? We want to reassure you of that. And then what warranties come with retrofitting versus replacement? Great last question. Again, if I was sitting there, I'd want to know when I had to worry about those lights. So they come with a 10-year warranty for all the retrofits. The replacements, which are 5% of your project, would be in like can lights, for example, and those come with a 5-year warranty, okay? And again, the useful asset life, expected asset life of these is 17 years on average. Okay, I think I got through all the questions. I am now open for any questions you may have. Oh, wonderful. Yes, ma'am.
Warranties, of course, you have to think about those types of things. So thank you so much for answering those questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So just to replace them, it'd be a 30%, to retrofit them is a 30% savings. Is that mainly in labor or is that in product?
It's both. It's a mix of both. Yes, ma'am. It is quite labor intensive to rip the whole thing out. Yes,
So
ma'am.
could we buy any longer time than 17 years in adequate lighting?
So that's an average that we feel comfortable saying.
Whether we retrofit or replace? Whether we retrofit the lights or replace?
About the same. Yeah, it'd be about the same. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Very welcome. Thank you for the questions.
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
These savings are over the course of the contract, or these savings are every year?
Every year.
Every year.
Yes, ma'am. And so I come back, I'm compelled by the law, and I love to come back also, to come back every year and give you a report on how that previous year went vis-a-vis the savings. Yes, ma'am.
And what is the year of the contract? How many years of the contract?
15. Mhm.
Zach, I was just wondering, how long have you worked with this company?
With Centrix, 3.5 years.
Okay.
Just one more question. And of course, I want to abide by your recommendations. I was just wondering, is this something that we need to outsource? This isn't something we can do in-house because it's too large? And as far as the salary of having someone do this?
So I think the part is we need someone who's going to guarantee the savings to take advantage of that, because we could, but where would, the funding come from at the time that we're looking at in the M&O side? And then how do we guarantee the savings? Take
Yeah.
advantage of that. Yes, ma'am.
Can I add to that answer? It is everything that you just said there. Additionally, if the savings, and you could, try to internally calculate the savings on your own and do the math. One of the benefits of using a company like ours is that if the savings don't appear, one, we're writing you a check, but it's also in our best interest to go and fix whatever the problem is immediately and kind of own, the term of the project. So that would be the other one.
And that's what you report to us every year?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us what you find.
Every year.
Are there other districts around us that are using you guys? And what have their reports looked like? Is it usually they're good? They are,
Yeah.
you guys are writing a check?
I love that question. We haven't written a check yet. The closest neighboring district to you guys is Northwest ISD up in Justin, and so far clean. Yep. 2 years. 2 years. Yep. The most recent one was Matagorda ISD, same exact contractual mechanism you guys have, same savings, all that stuff, and I'm due to go present their first year savings in 2 months. And so far, it's clean.
I think what the reason that we're prodding so much about with these questions is because it's a large contract number.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, and that's a yearly contract number, is that correct? What is it 15, I mean, it's for 15 years for the $5 million? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So really, $5 million
Understood.
in 15 years is not that much, is it?
Yeah.
$5 million.
So-
I just wish $5 million went further than it used, like it
And
used
what
to.
I would think, Ms. Coleman, one thing that we were thinking about is when we had earmarked the money in the budget for our capital assets, this is kind of the thinking that we've done so that we're front-loading it and paying it through the savings instead of having to pay for it. So, you had asked, we had money set aside for this. Well, I was thinking, how can we make that possible? And so this is kind of our recommendation so that we're back on track again. Yeah.
I have one quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we've asked about who's with you and who's close by, but what district has been with you the longest and how long is that?
Beaumont, if I'm not mistaken, Beaumont ISD.
How many
and I
years?
think 4.5 years, 5 years? Almost 6 years.
6 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good, thank you.
How old is the company? 6 years old. Not yet.
But Beaumont is doing well and they're satisfied.
Beaumont is very satisfied, yes.
Thank you.
When did they pass this legislation?
I believe in the 90s.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I can find out the exact year for you because I want to know.
This is a time span, how long the plan had, that type of plan by the state had been in operation.
I'll find out for you.
Yeah.
I'm just curious too, if that's part of what we used to call the I&F monies, part of the facilities, would that be different? Facilities, okay, and you don't have to explain, I was just curious. Because those went away.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for all your questions.
And know that Cameron, I think if you can just show the contract, then we have our advisor who maybe can answer even some of the questions that they had.
This will be quick. So part of this process is it's required for us to go to an independent engineer, and just basically, we're reviewing the savings that they've presented in front of us. This is a contract between us and an engineer. It took them 2 weeks. They go line by line to every unit, every light bulb, everything, and they've given us a certified letter as of today that guarantees, or they provide the guarantee, they've reviewed it and accepted that all of their savings are true. So I just wanted to add that because that's the last piece that the district will provide for you guys until the financing comes through. So,
So just help me, because I don't work with it.
sure.
Why don't we get that third party to guarantee what we're being told?
Well, because, so their job is to engineer and guarantee everything, but that wouldn't prevent someone from entering into a contract and a year down the road not meet the savings, and the company's not there to provide support or their guarantees. So this has been a part of the process since this began in the 90s. And I will tell you that as districts and the state budgeting and funding and school districts have gone through periods of, good times and rougher times, this is why it was created in the 90s, and it has been around for 30 years. And right now, we're facing one of those periods in the state of Texas. So these type of products will become more prevalent, but this is just a third leg that allows the district to reach out to an engineer, a certified engineer, that goes line by line and that supports the savings that they've presented to us in the pro forma, because the next step is to get the funding. And the bank is going to want to see the third-party engineering report before they provide the funding. Like you said, that's a significant amount for a school district to utilize.
Cameron, just like with our materials, right, like TEA has a list of approved people.
Yes.
does this exist for this particular company and this type of work?
Yes.
Okay.
And we wanted to utilize someone in the state of Texas, obviously, because weather's going to play a part in how much we're utilizing HVAC and how much the roofing is going to save over time.
Moving on to item 5. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it is it 5E? Yeah.
Good evening, Board President, Board Superintendent. My name is Adrian Galvan with Baker Tilly. It's always a pleasure to be in front of you guys. I'm here to talk about the financing part of this project. Yeah, we can flip to the next page, please. So these are the items that are proposed to be put into place for the energy efficiency. Page 1 of 3, what's on the screen, totals $5.449 million. The useful life is a column to the far right. And if you see there, it's 15 years, 20, and 15 for an average useful life of 16.54 years. So our borrowing is for 15 years. It's going to last 16 years. So we're not borrowing for longer than the life of what we're doing. So that's one of the checks that we do. Next page. There's a lot of numbers on this page, but this is a recreation of what's in the documents that Centrix is doing. Our job as your financial advisor is to fill in column G. That is the proposed maintenance tax notes issue, which would be the bond financing mechanism that we would use to fund this project. You need to fund $5.4 million of projects. Columns C, D, and E are the guaranteed savings that were talked about before I got up here. So I don't have any control over those columns. That's information that's provided to me. I drop those into a spreadsheet, and they total up to column F. And if you notice a big bold line I put there in the middle of the page, everything to the left of the bold line is information that I'm relying on Centrix and the third party to provide. That's the total benefit. And from that, I got to compare it to what's the proposed financing? What does that look like? And with everything that's going on with the war, it's hard to pin down an interest rate. I've been given a range between 4.25% and 5.25% for a 15-year borrowing. We won't know until we get into the market. What I'm showing to you here is a worst case 5.25% to borrow over 15 years. It kind of stresses out the model to see if we're getting savings even at that high rate. If you look at column G total, you borrow $5.4 million, you're going to pay over 15 years $8 million with principal and interest. That column G is going to be used to compare to the total benefit to find out how much you're saving. The future value net annual benefit projected is column K, and I put that in yellow. As you can see there, it's where it's negative on the front end. That's where you're paying a little bit more than you're saving. It's for instance, the first year you're paying $67,000 more than the benefit, and that number decreases and flips to positive in 35, where you start going positive on the savings. The bottom column K shows what the future savings are with the assumed 5.25% interest rate, totals up to $37,144. You're able to accomplish all these improvements. You're taking some of these pay-as-you-go projects that might hit you on any particular year. You're front-loading it by putting it into a financing, and so you don't have the surprises, and you're still able to pull off some savings at the bottom. I'll stop for questions there, because I know there's a lot of numbers on this page, and I want to make sure that we're on everybody, that we're tracking on benefits on the left, right is the cost, and the yellow is the net benefit for you.
I have a question. Because of the uncertainty of the market, at what point could we go out to get a lesser interest rate?
So the plan that's included in here is to come to the to go to the market with the competitive bid process, show it to 30 to 40 banks, and spend about 3 weeks explaining the deal, getting the bid specs out there, generating interest, and locking in getting the bids on May 1, which is a Friday before your next meeting, May 4th. And the plan would be on May 1, we find the lowest bid, the lowest interest rate. We'll be in communication with the district. We'll pick the lowest rate pending official approval on Monday, the 4th. So on May 1, we'll know the final version of this slide. We have to get it approved on an actual board meeting, so that's why we're waiting until May 1 to lock it in. But it's really hard to try to time the market. I wouldn't.
So I guess my question would be, can it be refinanced later, at a later date, if all of a sudden the market goes and we have lower interest rates available?
Yes, most of these private placements come with a call feature, callable at any time. Sometimes it'll be a 5-year call feature, but there'll be a call feature built into it. That's a good question.
I have a quick question, and maybe this is a dumb question. But, so where does the $5 million go? Does it go to Centrix? Does it go with us? And we have like this pot of money, like for instance, like the bond election? Like how does that, where's the $5 million going, I guess?
My understanding is that it goes straight to Centrix, and they.
You want to come back up, Zach?
Yeah, come on up.
It goes straight to you, and then we bill you kind of like a construction progress payment. Yeah, like that.
The question is, if we're not going to use the whole $5 million at one time, but the whole point is to get the $5 million at once, but we're paying interest on the $5 million? No.
Yeah, my understanding is that the projected completion date is January 1 of '27. So it's, you borrow the money, May, June, 6 months construction period for installation of the equipment. And so that's why you borrow up front, because you're going to need to spend it within 6 months. So any more questions on the complicated sheet?
I have a out-of-the-pocket question, really. And it alludes to our state finance system and how they're wanting to change it. Do you see any trends coming up? There's been talk of all sorts of politicians like to say a lot of different things about funding schools and property tax, which is 25% of our funding here in Castleberry, 50% average over the state. So, question, they're really wanting to change the way our taxes are paid to us, school districts, where they're collected from us. And so, do you see any changes in that? Because we're talking about M&O, really.
Yeah.
We're not talking about INS, which is bond stuff. So,
Yeah,
it's sort of open-ended, sorry.
Yeah, it's, they're trying to move it to just elections on November is one of the things. They're also tying audits. If you don't have your audit submitted on time, they're trying to put limitations on borrowing in that sense. We do know that this particular instrument, the maintenance tax notes, are available for you. It's eligible financing, and it should be available for us to lock in May. But they're coming after us to try to limit voting options for debt. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if we're clear on this one, I'll flip it to the timetable on the next page. So in blue is, today we're here presenting the plan of finance. I'm just advising you of the option that you have for financing this project. If you tell me this is something you want to move forward with, then I will start the process tonight and work the deal between now and May the 1st. On May the 1st, a district financial advisor, bond counsel, your finance staff, superintendent will all get together, fill out this sheet, point out the winner, and get prepared for the meeting on May 4th. May 4th, I would come back, present that sheet with filled-in numbers, with the real locked-in savings and the results, and at that time, it's your choice to approve it or not. So April 6th is today. If you guys decide to move forward, the steps in between, you don't have to worry about that. That's the FA and bond counsel and your financing staff working to get the best deal for you guys. And then the hard work, May 1, tabulating the bids, May 4th, bringing the same presentation with locked-in numbers, pending your approval. Nothing's going to be locked in until we present, you guys see the results, and you say, hey, this is something we want to do, or we don't. And typically, you approve, and then 4 weeks later, you close. That's when funds are received, because we have to get this approved by the Attorney General's office. That's usually a 4-week period. So you would receive the funds on June the 2nd, is what I've got projected on the timetable. And that's when you start paying interest, is when you get the funds. Any questions on the timetable?
I guess my only question is, it's not the timetable, but I think it's not, the question isn't, can we afford this, is can we afford not to do this? I think that's the question I'm looking for, the answer I'm looking for. Yeah, but I mean, as our advisor, is this something that we really
Well, if
can't
you go
afford
back
not
to
do?
the sheet that's labeled page 2 of 3, that's got the yellow column, at the conservative high interest rate of 5.25, column K, which is your bottom line number, is a positive $37,000. So the debt's covered and you're $37,000 better. It's at that point it's a wash, but it's stuff that you needed to replace anyway. And if it goes out, it's going to hurt you a lot more having to replace it all at once and really hit your fund balance. That's the one that you're saving. You're smoothing out these operating costs over a 15-year period versus an emergency happening. My goal is to get you a better rate than a 5.25, and that's where we market it to the 30, 40 banks and answer all their questions and provide all the information they ask for. But this really is the lowest cost financing mechanism that you can use is putting the property tax behind it. Even though you're not going to use it, you're planning to use the savings. Thank you very much. And we're looking forward to the gala. Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Gelman.
thank you. Good seeing you guys.
Item 6A. Oh, what time is it? You're right. We're going to jump to item 7. We're going to skip 6A and 6B and come back to that later. Item 7, closed session. At this time, the board will retire to closed session under Texas Government Code Section 551.071 through 551.076 and 551.08 through 551.083 to discuss the items listed on the agenda. The time is 7:19 p.m. 6 p.m. And I'm going to jump around to item 8. I call this meeting back to order after our recess. It is 7:46 p.m. As we continue tonight's meeting, we welcome all who have joined us. As we keep asking how we can best promote and encourage achievement for every student in our district, the mission of Castleberry Independent School District is inspiring and empowering all students to be innovative thinkers in the global community. At this time, we will begin with the pledges of allegiance.
Yes, Mr. Board President, at this time, we have Natalie Zavala, a CHS student, who will lead us in our pledges.
And if we may stand for the pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
And now we will move on to item 8C. Mr. Kelly?
Yes, Mr. Board President, this time, Mr. Joseph Kelly, our Assistant Principal of Castleberry High School, and Michelle Holzelton, our CTE Instructional Coach, will introduce the students who will be recognizing staff and students at Castleberry High School and in the CTE program who are en route to success.
Good evening, President Oliver, Superintendent Smith-Faulkner, and members of the Board of Education. My name is Joseph Kelly. I serve as Assistant Principal at Castleberry High School, and tonight our Student Council is excited to present CHS Destination Success.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Natalie Zavala, and I'm proud to serve as the president at Castleberry High School. And we are a two-time national recognized student council. At CHS, our focus is clear: destination to success. We've got this. We are focused on one singular destination: student success. The journey isn't taken alone. It is powered by our dedicated staff, hardworking students, and an unwavering support of families and communities. Tonight, we want to give a closer look at the people, the progress, and the purpose behind everything we do at CHS. This year, our roadmap to success is built on 4 key pillars: attendance, star performance, CCMR readiness, and positive school culture. At CHS, our goals are simple: student present, student engaged, and student prepared after life of graduation.
Good evening. My name is Evan Hernandez, and I serve as the Vice President of Student Council. As we continue on our journey to destination success, we're excited to share how our students are preparing for life beyond high school, and the results are truly taking off. This year, 211 seniors have set their flight plans in motion by applying to colleges and universities, with 137 completing their FAFSA to secure financial support for their journey. We've also seen incredible growth in our college career military readiness. Back in September, our seniors were at 55% CCMR, but through hard work and determination, that number has climbed to an outstanding 98%, showing just how committed our students are to reaching their destination. 70 of our seniors have already been accepted into Texas Wesleyan University, earning an incredible $7.6 million in scholarships. In addition, 5 seniors have reached new heights by earning full ride scholarship to Texas Christian University. Altogether, class of 2026 has earned over $10.6 million in scholarships, already surpassing last year's record by proving that the sky is not the limit. This year also marks an exciting new chapter as we launched our first official early college high school program, giving students the opportunity to earn college credit while still in high school and accelerate toward their destination. Our students are clear for takeoff, charting a confident course toward their future.
Good evening. My name is Miley Garcia, and I serve as the Energy and Environment Committee Head of Student Council. This year, our Cook Children's clinical observations have soared to new heights, and CHS Health Science is working under full affiliation agreement with the entire hospital. We are able to go from the emergency room to the NICU and from med-surg to the operating room. Our health science students are gaining valuable experience as they prepare for their future healthcare careers. In fact, just last month, our students observed surgeons as they repaired birth defects in a baby's heart, corrected a patient's scoliosis by placing rods and screws alongside their spine. They even watched as an arterial venous malformation, which is just a fancy way of saying blood vessels, were removed from the patient's brain to correct the blood flow. CHS Health Science students were also able to be given the opportunity to participate in multiple hands-on events at the hospital. In these events, our students interact with many different healthcare professionals to learn about skills that are performed in the hospital. There are even medical sales reps that bring their OR power tools like bone saws and screwdrivers to let us practice making repairs on fake bones. With all these amazing opportunities, there's no doubt that the CHS Health Science students are soaring towards success and bright futures in healthcare.
At CHS, our teachers are the driving force behind student success. They go beyond just teaching lessons. They create hands-on, meaningful learning experiences that prepare students for real-world success. Through CTE programs and engaging instruction, they help students build skills that will last a lifetime. Their dedication and passion are what keep our students motivated every day. At this time, would Ms. Luna please come forward? I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize Ms. Dulce Luna. As a Spanish teacher, Ms. Luna does more than just teach a language. She opens the door to new cultures, new perspectives, and new opportunities. In her classroom, learning goes beyond vocabulary and grammar. It becomes a journey. What makes Ms. Luna special is how much she cares about her students. She is always willing to help, whether it's explaining a lesson again, encouraging someone who is struggling, or simply being there when a student needs support. She makes sure no one feels left behind on their journey to success. Please join me in giving Ms. Luna a round of applause. Please help me welcome our next speaker, who will recognize one of our outstanding CTE teachers, Chef Lacey Ferrier.
Good evening, my name is Joshua Casio, and I serve as the treasurer for Student Council. When we think about success, we think about the destination, but it's the people who guide us that really matter. For me, that's Chef Ferrier. She's more than a culinary teacher. She teaches us discipline, life skills, and how to keep going, even when we mess up, especially in the kitchen. She's also someone we can count on, whether it's for school, jobs, or just someone to talk to. Success isn't always perfect. It can get messy. But Chef Ferrier shows us how to learn from it and move forward. I'm really grateful for everything she does. Thank you, Chef Ferrier.
Behind every successful student is a strong team. From our counselors guiding students through graduation and college planning to our administrators supporting campus safety and testing, every role plays an important part. Our paraprofessionals and custodial staff also help create a safe, welcoming environment for everyone on campus. At CHS, success is truly a team effort, and I want to take a moment to recognize a key player on that team, someone who truly defines the heart at Castleberry High School, Miss Catherine Monzon. Ms. Monzon doesn't just work at our school, she helps shape it. Whether she's providing a shoulder to lean on during a tough day or making sure every student's on the right path towards the future, she's always there. Her dedication extends far beyond her office. She is a driving force behind the National Honor Society, ensuring that every member has the support they need to succeed and lead. She's the kind of person anyone can talk to, and she truly listens. We are incredibly lucky to have a counselor like Ms. Monzon, and CHS is a better place because of her.
Good evening. My name is Emilio Hernandez, and I am a senior student council member. As we continue our journey towards destination success, our students are showing success isn't just a place we hope to reach, it's a flight we're already on. Through our CTE programs, students are taking off and soaring to new heights. They're competing and excelling at state levels, organizations like DECA, Skills US, and HOSA, while others are gaining real-world experience preparing them for what lies ahead. As you recognize these students, please hold your applause. We are proud to recognize Nathan Griffin, who has reached the state level as a DECA finalist in automotive marketing services. Crystal Fernandez also soared to the state level as a finalist in personal care through HOSA. In esports, Evan Holland delivered an outstanding performance to secure a spot in the finals of the Fortnite solo tournament. He placed 9 overall out of 100 competitors. And Anwar Lee charted his course to the state as a Skills US, qualifying as in Masonry and will compete later this week. These students are leading the way, proving that with hard work, dedication, and the belief that we got this, there is no limit to how far they can go. We also want to recognize these incredible achievements of our student athletes, who are also soaring to new heights. Please hold your applause as we recognize these students. This year, our path has taken us to some outstanding milestones. In powerlifting, Sebastian Ward that lifted all the way to the state level. In cross country, both Sara and Van Goens achieved to the regionals, showing endurance and determination every step of the way. Our football team battled their way into the state into playoffs, demonstrating grit and teamwork. On our soccer field, our boys team claimed both by-district and by-district championships, where our girls team earned the title of by-district champions. Our fine art programs are also hitting all the right notes. In art, Brooklyn Potter, Aiden Brown, and Jose Moreno all qualified for state and vase, showing their incredible creativity and talent. Steve Sanchez earned the All-State Mariachi recognition, representing our school at the highest level. These achievements remind us that success isn't just a destination. It's a result of hard work, perseverance, and believing that we got this.
Good evening, board members. My name is Nathaniel Cruz, and I serve as the Parliamentarian of Student Council. At Castleberry, "We've got this" is more than just a phrase. It's a mindset. It's the fuel that keeps our journey moving forward and the confidence that helps us navigate every challenge along the way. You can see it in our school spirit, from packed stands at games to students proudly representing our campus in competitions and events. You can see it in our service projects, where students step up to make a difference, not just in our school, but in our community. And you can feel it in the way students and staff support one another every single day, lifting each other up and pushing each other to be better. At CHS, we're not just passengers of this journey, we're active crew members working together to make sure everyone reaches their destination, whether it's in the classroom, on the field, on the stage, or in the community. Our students show resilience, leadership, and pride. This positive culture creates an environment where students feel motivated, connected, and ready to succeed. And because of that, we know that no matter where the journey takes us, we've got this. As we move into testing season, we do so with confidence, preparation, and determination. We especially want to recognize one of our incredible crew members helping guide our students along the way, Dr. Jennifer Garcia. Dr. Garcia is our secondary ELA coordinator and one of our ACE staff members. Through her dedication to tutoring English language arts retesters, she has helped students strengthen their skills and, just as importantly, build the confidence they need to succeed. Because of her support, many of our students are stepping into their STAR exams ready to rise. None of these accomplishments would be possible without the support of our staff, family, and community. At Castleberry High School, the road to success takes teamwork, dedication, and heart. Together, we move forward. Destination success, we've got this. Thank you, board members, for having us today.
Thank you, President Talivar and Superintendent Smith-Faulkner, for the opportunity to recognize our outstanding students and staff at CHS. At this time, we would like to ask all CHS parent and staff members in attendance to please stand so we can acknowledge and thank you for your continued support.
Let's go ahead and take some pictures. We want to remember this moment. This is a celebration, especially of you guys. So we're going to stop down a little bit and take some time and take some pictures. You guys.
We're so proud of you guys, and when I hear our kids come back now and say that they've got that Castleberry pride, it means a lot. It's impactful. So I hope you carry that with you, and thank you for being here tonight so much.
In the spirit of jumping around, we're gonna jump straight to 10A, that specific action item, because we have visitors here, and we're gonna take care of that, because we want to celebrate this. So item 10A, consider approval of the proposed contract renewal recommendation for the 2026-2027 campus academic leaders, assistant principals, et cetera.
Other professionals?
Other professionals, that's it, sorry.
Which includes instructional coaches, TIA teachers, new hires for 2026-27.
Motion.
I move to approve the superintendent's recommendations to renew. Am I making sure I make the right motion? Campus academic leaders, or is that where we are?
Yes.
Assistant principals and other professionals per attached list, subject to assignment. Apologize for that.
There's a second. Ms. Aguilar, second. Is there any discussion? Please indicate your vote. Motion carries 6-0.
So, Mr. Board President, I know at this time we have some of our new employees in the audience. So welcome to Castleberry. If you'll stand. New employees, you've just been hired. Congratulations. Welcome to Castleberry. You stayed that whole time, and you got that little recognition real quick. So, but you don't have to stay for the whole meeting. We're happy to have you here tonight, and welcome.
We're going to go ahead and jump back to 6. Where did we leave off? 6A, right? Discussion items? 6A, Finance Monthly Update, Mr. William Wooten.
I'll be quick. Good evening, Mr. President, Board of Education Superintendent. Thank you for allowing me to give the budget update, the monthly budget update. Next slide. These are the things I'm going to talk about: the budget snapshot, budget financial performance, and next steps. As you can see, the budget snapshot, we've collected about 70% of our $48.6 million budget. We've spent to date 62% of that $48.6 million budget. So the net change of fund balance is positive. As of March 27th, we don't anticipate, it is that the actual fund balance would increase $3.8 million. With that being said, the next slide is that when we look at local payments, we are expected to collect about 98%, so we still have to book some payments that came in. State payment, the state owes us right now about $10 million, and so we will not receive a state payment for April. We will receive a state payment in May, June, and July. And so in federal budget, we anticipate collecting $300,000. I think we'll get pretty close with indirect costs that we'll move from our grants. Next slide. And so these are next steps. March is what we did in March, April. We're going to continue to look at the budget performance, make sure the actuals are tracking properly, and then prepare year-end budget amendment by function. So we're going to start looking at the budget and see where we have gaps to fill. And then, of course, we're going to update the year-end financial projections for this current year. In May, basically, I'm going to propose a year-end budget amendment based on what I see, what we need to move around functions, if any. Mr. President, any questions? That's all I have for the monthly update. Yes, ma'am.
In hearing everything that we heard tonight about incurring new debt, can our projected balance, can we handle incurring this new debt?
So the financial advisor did a 20-cent test, and it's like a financial stress test, and we can afford the debt based on the information and the test that he did. So, yeah.
Anybody else? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Board Member.
Item 6B, 2026-2027 certification of provision of instructional material.
I'm Denise Shedville, and this is one of my favorite topics, so here we go. Good evening, Board President, Superintendent Renee Smith Faulkner, and members of the board. Tonight, I'm bringing forward for your consideration the 2026-2027 certification and provision of instructional materials. This is an annual requirement under Texas Education Code 31.1011, and it serves as a critical assurance that our students have access to instructional materials that are fully supporting the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, commonly known as TEKS. So in order to do this, we went through a process. Sorry, my popcorn went down quickly. So we gathered input from all the stakeholders. We verified alignment of the instructional materials to the TEKS. We ensured they were on the State Board of Education approved list, confirmed compliance with student internet safety protections, reviewed all subject areas, and we prepared the document for board ratification and submission to TEA by May 1st. The process ensures accuracy and integrity, and the pre-form work has been completed. So, during the consent agenda time, we respectfully ask the board to consider approval of the 2026-2027 certification of provision of instructional materials. Thank you for your continued support of our students and staff. Do you have any questions about this? We actually do it every year. Yeah, the state has a process that we have to, y'all have to approve it before we can order them. So it's just part of the process. And the only change we've had is the really transition to Blue Bonnet, which Scott and Whitney have presented before, so. All right, anything else? Thank you.
So the consent agenda, item 9H will be withheld and taken out and adjusted to get correct. The amount is not correct, and so we will adjust that and address that at a different meeting. So at this time, we will consider the consent agenda as amended. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please indicate your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 10B is consider approval of an energy savings performance plan, but we have been advised to look at.
Yes,
Please-
we've been,
please state that so I
yes.
don't
So,
follow
we have had our attorney look at the contracts, but we've been advised to go ahead and approve it at the same time that, our financial advisor is going to ask for the motion, and then we'll follow up with this action item at the next board meeting. Okay?
But the attorney has approved it?
The attorney's looking at the contract. We're getting some, feedback just to be sure that we've crossed our Ts and dotted our Is.
So that's all of the action items. Now we're on information items. There is one, is that information items? No. Or is that in 12? Oh, that's 12B. Is there anything we need to touch on any of these information items? Anybody had any other discussions or questions about? Really?
Angela, can you open 11G, please?
Mine says no previews available either.
April Fool's joke.
It states that the document is in the owner's trash, and right up there it says it's in the trash.
Yeah. See, file in the trash.
And that's Mr. Lasher? Mr. Lasher, is your file in the trash?
File is in owner's trash.
File
They
13.
can't open your file. It says it's in the trash.
Special powers. I didn't get it. I mean, I couldn't do it. I thought I could. Yeah.
I can get it, but I don't
Have access to his trash.
It's covered in gum.
Ms. Kelso, can you go and print this for the school board members so they have a copy?
I do have a question about this now that I see it. Is any of, how much of this will change due to Centrix? Yeah.
For planning for next year, you'll see that these are interior and exterior finishes. And so it is, we've taken the budget down, and we will only be doing the interior and exterior. There will not be HVAC, there will not be controls, there will not be lighting in part of any of this.
This would mainly constitute like cosmetic things, that touch-up paint, if we had to do any drywall, any carpet squares that we'd have to replace throughout the process of, in preparation for the start of the new school year, so.
So that means, so that means that 11H, the proposed draft of the 2026, the next one, because when you click on that replacement plan, it has HVAC stuff on there, so that's no longer, is that right? Since he
Well,
said-
the HVAC would be project number 19.
Okay,
So with the Centrix contract, there is if you can scroll down, Angela, there is a annual cost of the $6,200 that we've put in there as well.
okay. What is that for?
That's the reoccurring cost. Cameron, are you aware of that?
Preventative maintenance, so we still have to conduct.
He said, I didn't like it.
One of the reasons that we've had premature, failures and repairs.
Can you get to a mic that works? You can come up to the front if you need to.
Yes, we just want to ensure that part of the reason we've had some premature repairs and failures is because we weren't always doing a thorough preventative maintenance program. So we're not only going to put some money back into this, which is something we do in-house, this is not something we have to contract. The chiller section, we will contract. We're going through the process of what that's going to cost us, but it's less than 10% of what we were budgeting for repairs and replacement in order to keep the equipment that we have, as well as the equipment that we could be purchasing through the contract up to date and extending the life to 15 or 20 years, which it should last.
And this is for the chillers?
I don't know if the 6,200 is for chillers, but it's to put back into the preventative maintenance program.
Yeah, it's the overall, it's not necessarily through the
Filters.
chillers, it's the reimbursement through Centrix. So when he had met with us, there's that annual fee that we pay Centrix, and that's where we're pulling this from. Yeah. In the capital improvement plan, not the replacement.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is that part of the $5 million?
Yes, yes.
So-
This would just be a reoccurring or not monthly, a yearly cost that's associated with that.
That's part of the original $5 million pot of money, is
Mhm.
for lack of better words.
It's where he said we'd have to, that is not part of what's taken into the loan.
Like the maintenance side of it, not the purchasing and replacement
Correct.
piece.
Yes.
Got you. And when does this start? Does that start year one?
That would start at the end, almost a year from now. So that's where it would be billed towards the end before our fiscal year starts on 27, 28. So we'd have to account for it a year from now.
I guess the one that I linked to looks different than this one, so I just, somehow, I think that could have been what happened, is there was an updated link that was switched out, because I'm looking at one that still has HVAC preventive maintenance.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at, so I don't know.
It's the next line, the next.
As number 8, so yeah.
Number what?
So line number 8 that I'm looking at has preventive maintenance HVAC, Irma Marsh.
Yeah, I don't see that.
And I think I'm confused because he said it starts January 1 ribbon cutting, but yet this says start date is July 1st. Right?
Yes.
Centric said they're
Yeah,
gonna
so
start.
Yeah, we're talking about two different things. The measurement and verification, the 6,200 specifically, is what we are paying for the third-party engineers to review the project, and that's a one-time fee. Further up, that is the preventative maintenance. That should be in the annual replacement schedule.
So Renee, your document's different than this one?
I don't see what you guys are seeing.
So this is an information item, and so what we'll do is we'll look over it before it comes to the board. So this is exactly what it's for. This says draft, to look over it and see what's on here. I think there was an update, and I have the old version link that I'm getting to. Is that what you have, Angela? Because yours looks different than my link. So this is an information item only, and it will be coming back to you for approval later. Yes, okay. So I can read it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Kelly. See, Kelly's aware that I need everything in big print now.
I was like, what is that?
It took her a minute with the jitterbug.
What's a jitterbug?
She's the only one that doesn't need this big old one.
I'm joking, I'm joking.
Some people know it's a phone, and some people know it's a dance.
Oh.
It's a phone? Sorry. Sorry, I took that. If there's nothing else in information items, we'll go on to item 12. We'll start at 12A. I'm hearing board key dates. We've got, go ahead. Got a conference coming up. We've got a fundraiser coming up. Education Gala, we've got art shows and music performances. There's a lot of art shows.
Yeah, a lot of art shows.
Yeah.
Looks like an elementary and then a secondary one. A secondary then elementary.
We've got 3 NSBA conference. Except for me and Mary Lou. No, the 3 of us.
I'm not going either.
No.
Oh,
Kathy,
Yeah, half of us are going, yeah.
Kathy, you, me, and Linda.
Yeah. So, it's art shows. Anybody want to commit to attending any of the art shows? I will go to,
I'll probably do one, either the
Yeah,
13th or
House on the
14th
Ville, yeah,
one
somewhere in
night,
there.
and then I'll probably do one the next week too, the
Yeah.
ISD one night.
yeah,
Yeah. I'll take Leah, she likes art.
I'll commit to going at least one night to both of those shows.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. And then I'll also be at Spring Fest.
Okay.
And Mr. President, I don't see the candidates form on here.
It's right
It's-
there, on the 16th.
16th at 6.
I do have a question though. It says there's 2 dates, the 28th and the 24th both say the Spring Mariachi concert.
And the 24th.
Yeah, one says,
Mariachi's-
one just doesn't have a V after it and one does, so,
Hmm.
but then JV is the
Varsity.
30th, so I'm confused.
We've got a
There's a varsity and a JV.
varsity JV, I guess.
Yeah, but there's like 3 on here total. So there's one on the 24th, there's one on the
There's
28th,
JV,
and
yeah.
there's one on the 30th, which is JV. So that's what I'm confused about.
I would think the 24th is middle school. We just need clarification.
Oh,
Could be
okay.
it.
You
I mean,
think so?
it can clarify, but you've already got varsity and JV identified.
Yeah. So you think that's probably middle school?
They're all at CHS.
Oh, they're all at
But it could
CHS,
be
that's
middle
what's
school.
confusing me too.
I know there's a link to the fine arts
Okay.
master calendar. Maybe that can help us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does say April 24th, middle school.
Okay.
At
what it is.
CHS
That's what it is,
Auditorium.
middle school. Okay.
I know that we have Spring Fest and the gala on the same night. I did talk to Darren. There was no way that they could have Spring Fest on a different night. We already had that time frame. On the gala, we will have some seniors in the parade, a handful that will participate in the parade. We will not be able to be there. However, we'll have some representatives there.
And just for public record, unfortunately, and my apologies to my opponent, I won't be at the candidates forum because my family priorities are taking priority right now. And so I regret that. So is there any way that I can do a recorded message of the 2 questions that are given to the
I think we can ask Dennis. I don't think there would be a problem with the first 2 questions because we give the first 2 questions to the
ahead of
candidate.
time?
Yeah, so I don't really think that'd be a
Something like
problem.
that.
We'll run it by
You wanna record something
Dennis.
or something?
Yeah, if you can let me know.
Because it's the same questions.
Yeah.
And so I'll get with Angela so she can check.
Or that I can have something prepared, a video or something, whatever.
Of the 2 questions, that'd be great.
Okay. And Dewey, you'll be on stage, correct?
I don't think so. I don't, I can be.
I
don't
think
know.
did Mr. Beers agree to be the moderator again this year? I think some time ago, he said he would be the moderator again.
I just think that's something to consider, since anyone running for office, if someone may have a question for you, whether you have an opponent or not, it's something to consider. I don't,
To consider Dewey?
being on the. I don't know if, we haven't had one before, if no one's had an opponent, have we? I mean, like if no one has an opponent, we haven't gone ahead and had a forum. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And we did get clarification on that, too, and so we had to, offer it because it was on the calendar. If someone would have denied, if both candidates could not be there, it would be
Right.
canceled.
Okay.
So it was up to, the candidate, if they were gonna, come and participate or not.
Oh, okay. Okay,
So
good.
that's how, because I did reach out and say, this is something we don't know, and so how do we handle
Right,
this?
okay.
And then I gave the information to Dewey to be able to.
Had a conversation with Dennis.
Okay. All right, so I just want to make sure you had that opportunity if you wanted to. So you'll just get back with me on what I can do or need to do. Okay, thank you.
I don't
And
see why
again,
there-
I so
I don't see why there
apologize.
couldn't be, but I'll check with Dennis. I really don't see why there couldn't be. I mean, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that we can give the first two questions, because we have a certain date we are supposed to give them with the instructions, so we can probably just deliver those.
I guess the only question I would have then, if you're going to afford me that opportunity, I think that you would have to afford my opponent the same opportunity to record the message? No?
Everyone just needs to get the question at the same time, and they can respond. You can respond that way, because they can use paper to read from, so.
On to item 12B. Big, long thing. I have to read this whole thing, don't I, Angela? So,
Is it this? Is it this?
it's this side. So this is the annual Castleberry Independent School District Board of Education, April 6th, 2026, annual announcement of continuing education of board members under State Board of Education rule. Completing required continuing education each year is a key responsibility of every board member. As board president, I'm required to announce the name of each board member who has completed the required continuing education, has exceeded the required continuing education, and is deficient in meeting the required continuing education. The announcement must be made at the last regular meeting of the board before an election of trustees. There are 8 training areas for board members continuing education. One is local orientation, 2 is orientation of the Texas Education Code, 3 is post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code, 4 is team building, 5 is additional continuing education, 6 is evaluating student academic performance and setting goals, 7 is identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children, and 8 is school safety. All board members successfully completed the required courses except for the team building training. Therefore, all board members are considered deficient in their continued education hours for this year. Specifically, Dewey Tolliver completed all courses except team building with 24 hours of additional continuing education. Mary Lou Martinez completed all courses except team building, 24 hours of additional continuing education. Kathy Gatika completed all courses except team building, 12 hours of additional continuing education, and will complete remaining hours at the annual conference, April 10th through 12th. Tracy Gallman completed all courses except team building, 0 hours of additional continuing education, will complete remaining hours at the annual conference. Linda Aguilan completed all courses except team building, 12 hours of additional continuing education, will complete remaining hours at the annual conference. Ariela Martinez completed all courses except team building, 17 hours of additional continuing education. Janice Carroll completed all courses except team building, 25 and a half hours of additional continuing education, will complete remaining hours at the annual conference. The 3 hours of team building training were not credited this year because unfortunately one board member was unable to attend. As a result, the board did not receive credit for those hours. We will ensure the missed team building training is completed at the next opportunity so the board members remain fully compliant. Thank you to all board members for your dedication to professional development. That's item 10B. $12B, sorry. Master meeting calendar, board members report. As a reminder, 12D, board members will be asked to report on the national convention, find a class you like, present an item that strikes you and hits your heart, whatever, something that you can bring to the board for our district. Is there anything else anybody's seeing on there after this?
I have a question on 12C. Can we get the either attachment or link for the master meeting calendar included, please?
Is it not there?
And then also on 8C, it leads to the presentation from the high school earlier, and it's Canva access. How are we supposed to like? It says we need to request access, but with what email? Because I mean, do we have a Castleberry Canva account? Okay.
12C is actually under 12A.
12C is under 12A.
And 8C.
So we want to link it on 12C also?
Probably, yeah.
Angela, do you have the 26, 27 master meeting calendar for 12C? Huh? You're linking it? Okay.
Thank you.
This is a draft, so that is exactly right with Ariella wanting to look at that because we want to look at the dates to see if there's anything we need to change as we're putting together the whole district master meeting calendar.
So when I try to go to Canva with my Castleberry email, and I don't know if this is just a one-off and Jacob help desk support maybe, but it leads to a login with clever.com. Does that sound? Okay. Okay. IT training, it just didn't look familiar, so I didn't go further.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. What item was that?
I think Lauren. Lauren, or can you fix the permission? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to move on to item 13A. Establish the next meeting Monday, May 4th for a regular board meeting.
Thank you.
And on to item 14, I move we adjourn. Hearing no objection, we stand adjourned at 8:44 PM. Thank you very much.